Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here. Welcome back to another video for Elden Ring, and in this one I want to bring you an awesome new build. Once upon a time somebody asked us a question. Okay, I'm sorry, but real talk, somebody said in the comments, where are the axe builds? So we thought we'd put together a build using the best great axe in the game. To be clear, this isn't exclusively for axes. You can also take this build and use it with great swords or other meaty weapons, but for the purposes of this video it's a meaty axe build that leans heavily into strength and faith. Basically, you buff up and you deal big damage. So if you guys do enjoy this, you do like this, a like would be super appreciated. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and of course make sure you keep it locked for plenty more Elden Ring. But to begin with, let's go over the build. When you first look at this build, you will see that it revolves around two very key things: a big ass axe, or again, a weapon of your choosing, and the Sword Dance Ash of War, which is a skill that you see used a lot in PvP, but a bit less in PvE. Personally, I feel like people sleep on this because it might not be as flashy looking. We're not going to be firing laser beams, calling down comets, or slinging blood, but we are strength boys, which means all we care about is big damage and hitting things hard. From our testing, if you spec for this, and you set it up correctly, it appears to be one of the hardest hitting skill weapon combos so far. And if you want to take it even further, then we've spec'd into Faith to take advantage of some of the commonly used buffs. We even have some additional weapon enchantments that can further amp up the damage or provide some stun to allow for uninterrupted wailing. Basically, once this thing gets down, it's swing to win. So let's run through the flow. You take your axe with Sword Dance applied, and axe set to heavy affinity so that we get that sweet strength scaling. From here, we then apply two self buffs you should be familiar with: Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow. This is just for some nice damage. Then from there, we enchant our weapon, and we have two options. We either pick Electrify Armament, which imbues the blade with lightning, and not only does additional lightning damage, more importantly, it stuns the enemy, which is actually very handy because sometimes the wind up for this Ash of War is a little slow, so that stun can give you the window you need to just destroy the opponent. Alternatively, if you want to lean more into Faith, you instead have Order's Blade, which imbues the blade with holy damage, and in turn does result in more damage than Electrify Armament, depending on your faith, but you will not have the stun, so when battling faster enemies it can be a bit more tricky, so pick and choose accordingly. So with all this together, you quite simply buff up, and you go and swing your axe until the enemy is dead, which won't take long. So let's quickly go through all the components so you can build this yourself. First things first, you need the Warped Axe, which is a fantastic weapon, incredibly powerful, a strength requirement of 24, a dex requirement of 8, and if you switch this to the heavy affinity, then you have S scaling in strength. This of course also allows for custom Ashes of War, so you need to add the Sword Dance Ash of War. Keep in mind this is a rare drop weapon, so you will need to farm this, and if you want a better chance of farming, don't forget to check out the video we did on how to improve your drop chance. If you want to get this, go to the underground roadside Site of Grace and farm the omens wielding the axes. Following on from there, you will of course need a seal, and since this is a strength faith focused build, the Clawmark Seal is probably your best pick. This of course has a strength requirement of 4, a faith requirement of 10, scaling in C for both strength and faith, and again this is a good seal because it is good for the strength players out there. You can of course also use the Erdtree Seal if you want to lean more into faith, since it does have the best faith scaling. But again, basically you need a seal so you can cast those incantations. If you want to obtain this one, you need to head to the Bestial Sanctum and trade your first death route with the Beast Clergyman, and he will give you the Clawmark Seal. You then want the Shard of Alexander as your talisman. This will greatly boost the attack power of skills. In order to get this one, you need to complete Alexander's quest, and at the end of it, he will then give you this. The Lightning Scorpion Charm. This raises the lightning attack power, but does of course lower damage negation. If you want to get this one, this is found in the Windham Catacombs. It requires a Stone Sword key to get, so make sure you have one of those. But if you then follow the route on screen, you'll find it behind a tomb, and you can then pick up the item. If you have not already collected it, you will also need the Iron Whetblade. This gives you the ability to apply heavy, keen, or quality affinity to weapons. So if you want to get this, you need to go to Stormvale Castle, go to the Rampart Tower Site of Grace, take the lift down and then run forwards and then take a left through the door. You will then find the door that requires a Stone Sword key, kill the two guys inside, and in the room you will find a collectible on a corpse. If you haven't already got it, then you'll of course need the Flame Grant Me Strength buff. This is of course the buff that raises your physical and your fire affinity attack power. For this one, you need to head to Fort Gale North Site of Grace, and if you then head behind the fort, between the 2 flame chariots, you will find the incantation. For Golden Vow, this of course is the buff that increases attack and defense for yourself and allies, so of course this again is another necessary buff for beefing up the damage. For this one, you want to head to Mount Gelmir, go to the Bridge of Iniquity Site of Grace, then head up the road towards the Corpse Stench Shack, and inside that, you will then find Golden Vow. For Order's Blade, of course, if you want to lean more into the holy side of things, this is the one that will enchant your right hand armament with holy damage. You can purchase this from D in Round Table Hold, or if you're a savage and you've killed him and taken his bell, then instead you want to go to the Twin Maiden Husks and purchase that instead. As for Electrify Armament, if instead you want to lean into the electric side of this, then this is the one that enchants your right hand armament with lightning damage. In order to get this one, you will need a book to unlock it. The book is located south of the Artist's Shack on a knight that is patrolling the road. If you kill him, take his book, then head over to the Church of Vows, speak to your turtle friend, give him the book, and you can then buy that spell. And then finally, for Sword Dance, if you haven't got that Ash of War yet, you then want to head over to the Revenger's Shack in Liurnia, head south down towards the Catacombs, you will then head along a cliffside path, and in that pathway is a scarab. If you kill it, it will then drop the Ash of War. And altogether, that is what you need to assemble this build. Now all you have to do is go and buff up, swing your axe, and deal big damage. This of course is your big damage axe, Unga Bunga, Holy Boy, and sometimes Lightning Boy build, and of course you will see things die. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know in the comments down below if you are going to give this a whirl, and of course if you missed our recent upload, be sure to check out this video, and keep it locked on the channel for plenty more Elden Ring.